My name is Beanland and I'm a Year 1 classroom teacher. Thank you so much for taking the time to support our budding readers in the classroom. In this video, I'll be going through a few strategies that you can use to support readers to decode and at the end to comprehend what they're reading. The first thing teachers might ask you to do to support their readers is to practice letter sounds. They might do this by giving you an alphabet book or some alphabet cards to revise with the students. When you do this, please make sure that you focus on the sounds that each letter makes. For example, the letter A makes the sound A, the letter B makes the sound B, the letter C makes the sound K, D, D, E, F, and so on. When you get to more complicated sounds, for example digraphs, where two letters make one sound, like TH making the sound F, SH making the sound sh, you can practice those as well. This is a really important skill because when students are reading, the first thing we ask them to do when they get stuck is to sound out the word. For example, if you see a 3-letter word cat and students get stuck, we might ask them to put their finger under each letter and sound it out, k, a, t, and then blend it together, cat. Similarly with a little bit longer words that have digraphs, like cash, we go k, a, sh, and then blend it, cash. We always ask them to blend it together at the end so that students are not solely focused on saying the sounds. These are great strategies to use, but unfortunately the English language is not all phonetic, and that's why we have the good reader strategies that we use at Saltwater. When you do read and students have sounded out the words but they're still getting stuck and it's still not working, you might focus on these strategies instead. The first two work together. So you might ask students to look at the picture and then get their mouth ready and look at the initial sound of the word. For example, if they look at the picture and see a bird and the word starts with a B, they could make an educated guess that the word is bird. If the picture is a bird and they see the letter P at the start of the word, they might guess pigeon, and so on. This really helps them to focus on the sound of the word, but also to use the other clues in the book to help them read. The next strategy is using those sounds that we just focused on, where students slide through the sounds. For example, they might look at the word slide and go slide with their fingers. And this is where those letter sounds are very important. Similarly, when students stretch out the sounds, they pretend they have a piece of bubble gum and they stretch the sounds out. By stretching the sounds out a bit slower, we're hopefully focusing on blending the sounds together towards the end and reading the full word. Sliding and stretching can often look quite similar, which is why, as long as students are focusing on the sounds and just blending it through, they should be able to get there. Another strategy is to try different vowel sounds. Now, we know that our vowel sounds have at least 2 different sounds. They can have short sounds like a, e, o, e. They can also have long sounds like a, e, I, o, u. And while some graphemes tell us which sound they make, students might not have learned those spelling rules yet. And so when students get to a word like gate, they might read it as gate, because they have only learned that the A makes the A sound and E makes the S sound. And that might not sound right to them, so you might encourage them to try a different vowel sound. And that's when they might try gate, and then they might think, oh, that sounds a bit better. Another strategy is to think of a rhyming word. We have done rhyming words a lot in grade 1, and this again focuses on using their prior knowledge of words that rhyme, looking at the ending of the word and trying to think of something similar to help them figure out what that word means. For example, if they see the word that, but they don't know the TH makes a sound, they might say cat, hat, to try and get something that's similar. Another strategy, and this is my personal favourite strategy, is to look for small words or to look for parts hiding inside. Another word that we use to name it is chunking. So when you do chunking, you look for parts inside a word and use that to read it. For example, in the word midnight, you know the word night, you know the word mid, and then you blend it together. This skill is especially helpful for our middle and extension readers because they might be reading a lot bigger words. And so when they get stuck, sounding out is not going to be very helpful because there's too many sounds to sound out. But chunking it, making it smaller, breaks it down for them and then allows them to use those skills. Another strategy that uses their prior knowledge is to skip the hard word, read the rest of the sentence and then come back. This allows students to use context clues in the sentence to figure out what that word might mean. This is especially helpful for verbs. For example, if it says Jimmy in the pool, you might think, oh, I don't know that word, but he's in the pool, so it might be swim. That's where that strategy is very helpful. And the last one is to look at the ending of word. We do know that a lot of our words have different suffixes and even prefixes. And occasionally students might not realize that they already know the base word. So by chunking, looking for that word they know, and then looking at different endings, they can have a go at sounding the endings out and reading the word that's there. And these are all the good reader strategies that we use at Saltwater. And hopefully by encouraging the readers to use these and supporting them with these strategies, they will be able to successfully decode a book. With decoding though, we also want to support students with their comprehension. To comprehend a book, we do that by asking questions before, during and after. At the beginning of the book, you might ask students to look at the cover. What do you see? What do you notice is happening? Then you might ask them to read the title. For students that are a little bit more capable, you might even ask them to have a guess at what genre the book is. Is it fiction? Is it non-fiction? Is it a mystery? What makes you think that? Then as you read through the book, you might go back to that prediction and see if you want to change it. Maybe you were wrong, but some parts of your prediction were correct. Or maybe you were completely correct and you want to add to that prediction. Maybe you were completely wrong and you have to completely change your prediction. That's okay. It really develops our readers' critical thinking strategies by asking these questions. You might also ask questions like what is going to happen next? Inferential questions like what is that character feeling? Why? If you were in this position, what would you have done? For non-fiction books, you might ask students what facts they think they might be learning. How is the book organised? Focusing on the text features like subheadings, glossary, table of contents. And then towards the end of the book is where you really consolidate that comprehension skills. You ask them to retell the story for you or retell the facts that they've learnt. You might focus on the sequential order of the events. For example, what happened in the beginning, middle and end. If they are able to do that, you might extend them and ask them for a summary. Retell the main idea in a shortened version. You can even go back and ask specific questions to really hone in on that detail. And that's really going to develop our students' thinking and making sure that they're not just reading the words, but they're understanding them as well. Hopefully this has helped. Please don't hesitate to ask your teacher as well if you do need any support or if you have any further questions. Thank you so much.